to hear from Mongols. You must have something to do. It's better for me. Thanks for doing the mouse. Yeah. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Chiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Stotara His Divine Grace Abhay Charanara Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nanta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Shri Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Today we're reading from the 10th canto. This is chapter 50. And this is text number 10. Krishna establishes the city of Dwarka. Anyopi dharma rakshaya Deya sambriyate maya Viramayapya dharmasha Kale prabhavata kvachit Anyopi dharma rakshayad Deha sambriyate maya Viramayapya dharmasha Kale prabhavata kvajit Anyopi dharma rakshaya Deha sambriyate maya Viramayapya dharmasha Kale prabhavata kvajit. Devotees? Anyopi dharma rakshaya Deya sambriyate maya Viryamayapya dharmasha Kale prabhavata kvachit Anyopi dharma rakshaya Deya sambriyate maya Viryamayapya dharmasha Kale prabhavata kvachit Anya. Another. Api as well. Dharma of religion. Rakshayai for the protection. Deya body. Sambriyate is assumed. Maya by me. Viramaya for the stopping. Api also. Adharmasha of irreligion. Kale in the course of time. Prabhavataha becoming prominent. Vachit whenever. Translation. I also assume other bodies to protect religion and to end irreligion whenever it flourishes in the course of time. Please repeat. I also assume other bodies to protect religion and to end irreligion whenever it flourishes in the course of time. So this is a follow-up to the 9th text, which we were hearing yesterday, about purpose of the present incarnation to relieve the earth of its burden, protecting the pious and killing the impious. And now Krishna is saying I also assume other bodies to protect religion and to end irreligion whenever it flourishes in the course of time. Om Jnana Tiramandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Udmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavari Paschitya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bir Krishnadas Goswaminiti Namine Namaham Sinikashaya Prabhupada Sudrida Sudina Syambam Tashapaki Nivadine. And there's no purport by the servants of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami in this regard, but there are several commentaries by the acharyas that I will read. And first one is by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. I also assume other bodies, such as Varaha, to protect religion and destroy irreligion. So he's giving one example. Jiva Goswami says, other bodies also, api, are manifested, sambriyate. This means that the form of Krishna is the full manifestation of all powers. The same is said in Gita 4:7. And Sanatana Goswami comments, this is done in other avatars as well. It is necessary. I manifest other forms to protect Dharma and destroy a-dharma when it is some time it becomes strong. The same is said in Bhagavad Gita 4:7. Or I manifest other forms at some time, kale. By protecting Dharma, devotees are protected, and by stopping adharma, the wicked are killed. Dayavir Prabhu spoke a little bit about this yesterday, and I wanted to read the verse, the full verse and the purport in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 7, and talk a little bit about various avatars of Krishna, which I thought might be kind of nice. Reading from the Dasa Avatara Stotra by Jayadev Goswami. So first, this is the Bhagavad Gita, and this is chapter 4, text 7. Very famous verse, actually. We've probably all know this by heart. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam ardharmasya tadatmanam srijamamam aham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. The word Srijami is significant herein. Srijami cannot be used in the sense of creation because, according to the previous verse, there is no creation of the Lord's form or body, since all of the forms are eternally existent. Therefore, Srijami means that the Lord manifests himself as he is. Although the Lord appears on schedule, namely at the end of the Dwapara Yuga of the 28th millennium of the 7th Manu in one day of Brahma, he has no obligation to adhere to such rules and regulations because he is completely free to act in many ways at his will. He therefore appears by his own will whenever there is a predominance of irreligiosity and a disappearance of true religion. Principles of religion are laid down in the Vedas, and any discrepancy in the matter of properly executing the rules of the Vedas make one irreligious. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that such principles are the laws of the Lord. Only the Lord can manufacture a system of religion. The Vedas are also accepted as originally spoken by the Lord himself to Brahma from within his heart. Therefore, the principles of dharma, or religion, are the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharmam tu sakshad bhagavat pranitam. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.19. These principles are clearly indicated throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to establish such principles under the order of the Supreme Lord, and the Lord directly orders at the end of the Gita that the highest principle of religion is to surrender unto him only and nothing more. The Vedic principles push one towards complete surrender unto him, and whenever such principles are disturbed by the demoniac, the Lord appears. From the Bhagavatam, we understand that Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Krishna who appeared when materialism was rampant and materialists were using the pretext of the authority of the Vedas. Although there are certain restrictive rules and regulations regarding animal sacrifice for particular purposes in the Vedas, people of demonic tendencies still took to animal sacrifice without reference to the Vedic principles. Lord Buddha appeared in order to stop this nonsense and to establish the Vedic principles of nonviolence. Therefore, each and every avatara or incarnation of the Lord has a particular mission, and they are all described in the revealed scriptures. No one should be accepted as an avatara unless he is referred to by scripture. It is not a fact that the Lord appears only on Indian soil. He can manifest himself anywhere and everywhere, and whenever he desires to appear. In each and every incarnation, he speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under their particular circumstances. But the mission is the same, to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes he descends personally, and sometimes he sends his bona fide representatives in the form of his son or servant or himself in some disguised form. Excuse me. The principles of the Bhagavad Gita were spoken to Arjuna, and for that matter, to other highly elevated persons, because he was highly advanced compared to ordinary persons in other parts of the world. 2 + 2 = 4 is a mathematical principle that is true in the beginner's arithmetic class and in the advanced class as well. Still, there are higher and lower mathematics. In all incarnations of the Lord, therefore, the same principles are taught, but they appear to be higher and lower in varied circumstances. The higher principles of religion began with the acceptance of the 4 orders and the 4 statuses of social life, as will be explained later. The whole purpose of the mission of incarnations is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. Such consciousness is manifest and non-manifest only under different circumstances. Om Jnana-Tiramandasya Gnana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we're hearing here from this particular verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam and from Krishna himself. He's explaining how he, at such time when people lose their way, the mass populace kind of loses their way and forgets about Krishna or forgets about religious principles, he kindly appears to remind them. And sometimes, I'm going to read the Dasa Avatara Stotra, and just we'll talk about the different ones that are highlighted here. Sometimes they're in unusual circumstances, they're in very unusual forms that maybe are unexpected. But in all cases, they're always appropriate to time, place, and circumstance. Dasa Avatar Stotra is only a condensed form of, I'm going to say a few of the avatars that are, obviously mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and they also are somewhat fantastical and show how Krishna can do anything, by his sweet will. He's a supreme autocrat. There's other avatars, we've heard about Shaktivesh avatars particularly, and maybe that's what we're a little more familiar with because in our time, place, and circumstance, it's a little easier to maybe digest and also relate to those avatars, such as, Shaktivesh avatar is just a sort of like a portion, like a small portion of Krishna's opulence or Krishna's energies. And we hear a lot about Srila Prabhupada being a Shaktivesh avatar. He was able to come here at an advanced age, under a lot of trials and tribulations, I'll say, for that age, to somehow bring Krishna's message to the West and begin its spread and help the flourishing in his short time in the West, approximately 10 years. So he was, clearly an empowered Shaktivesh avatar. And, it's been said, although I haven't seen it anywhere, I think maybe Prabhupada might have said it somewhere, that Lord Jesus Christ was also a Shaktives avatar. And he appeared in a different set of circumstances. And he gave God consciousness in as much as he could to that populace at the time, to expose those people to a greater power, a greater authority. And when those avatars appear to correct how things are going, it's tailor-made to those circumstances. And it's all in the end, as Prabhupada, the very last line of this purport in the Bhagavad Gita, the second to the last line, the whole purpose of the mission of incarnations is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. So if we think about that particular purpose, we can actually see, just as we've heard the story about the 7 gurus, or maybe it's 10. I forgot that part in the later part of the Srimad Bhagavatam, We all have so many gurus that sort of appear to arouse Krishna consciousness and within individuals. And, it shows how much Krishna really, really cares and loves us so much that he wants us to come back to him. He wants to show us the way home. He wants to show us the way home. He wants actually to show us that love and care. And sometimes it might come in very unusual ways. I'm sure all of you have had some sort of moments in your lives when, Krishna just sort of turns on the light and makes you remember that, oh, right, Krishna's right there. He's right in my heart. He's present before me, like in the Shikshastakam. Sometimes he doesn't appear to be present before us. Sometimes he appears to be far away and we're not really sure of anything, and maybe we're uneasy or a little bit fearful about something, a situation. And, he shows himself to us within and without. And it's actually such a beautiful reciprocation. I was reflecting on that last night. Like he's appearing here in this whole pastime to, with this whole thing with Jarasandha. It's actually quite comical, when you think about Jarasandha, It reminds me of some cartoons that I remember a long time ago. Somebody gets upset and they want to get revenge, and then they try, but somehow it's thwarted. And then they're like, drat, and then they try again. There's so many kids' cartoons like that about, keep trying and trying and trying to do whatever dastardly deeds or whatever things they're trying to do. There's so much of that, because I think maybe in that context, showing people, it's always good against evil too, those sorts of themes, right? It's always the good versus evil, and good always triumphs, right? All the cartoons and all the storylines and every movie practically we've ever seen, good always triumphs over evil, it always smashes that mentality. And sometimes the evil, the dastardly villain, he might be foiled again for a little bit. But, I've also seen those storylines where when they're bested and they know they're admitting defeat and they're like, okay, you've got me. And then they join, then they're like, they repent. They see their folly for even trying to do whatever twisted scheme that they were doing. And, then they're happy that they were able to see the light. In this particular way, Jarasandha, it's not working for him. He's, how many times? 17 times. He keeps getting pushed to the back, and then he's, defeated, and then some of his people are whispering to him, "Oh, you can, don't worry, just get it together and you can go do it again, try it again," because if you're not smashed, I mean, I'm sure everybody has this experience. If you try something and it's not smashed, it takes a while for you to get it through your head that maybe I shouldn't be doing that thing, If it's smashed, it's one thing. And then you're like, okay, what can I do? It's overwhelming. But if it's not completely obliterated, then, yeah, okay, I'll give it another shot. I mean, I've even had that experience with the deity service, Anybody that's done the deity service probably can attest, particularly dressing. Early on, I could understand, if I was holding something up for the deities and showing them something I thought maybe would look nice on, or I had an idea about, and just falls off or gets thrown off, then, okay, one time it gets thrown off, then it's my fault, right? Try it again. So if it gets thrown off the second time, then Krishna doesn't want it. They don't want it. And I had that idea, okay, let me try this a third time. And I would try to do something a third time. And again, it would be smashed. And then I'd actually get this physical sensation on the back of my neck, like prickly heat, sweat. And my head would get hot, and I'd get kind of like I knew maybe, okay, I'm not pleasing, I'm not being pleased, I'm not pleasing the deities. So then put it out of my mind. It's done. That they don't want that thing. That's fine. Put it aside. But I'll say for some it takes longer than others, and it seems like it's taking a long time for Jarasandha. And Dhritarashtra or Duryodhana for that matter, he never gets it. My spiritual master was talking about that last week in class. He was, I'm not going to say the S word, but he was so thick-brained that he just couldn't see the forest for the trees. He just wouldn't understand that this attachment to his sons wasn't good for him, wasn't good for his sons, it wasn't good for the society, it wasn't good for the kingdom. He just could not get that through his thick skull, And it's amazing because, as an outsider, we see things and we're just like, why doesn't he relent? And we see that all the time in our daily lives, I'm sure. Sometimes you see somebody you see them heading to a train wreck. It looks like a train wreck in slow motion. They're trying futilely to do something, and it gets thwarted, and they're trying it again. And it's sad. It's really a sad thing to see when, and you're thinking, why don't they just do this? And, it's easy to think that in the circumstances when you're outside, looking in. But, it's hard. It's hard to give up those sort of attachments. And we can hear from the Dasa Avatara Stotra, because I was thinking about all the incarnations, and honestly, the Dasa Avatara Stotra is a personal favorite because Jayadev Goswami goes through some of the more well-known avatars. And as I was saying before, some of Krishna is the supreme autocrat. He can appear in any form at any time, any place, any circumstance. I've even heard my spiritual master say, if you ever see a cockroach with a peacock feather, don't kill it. It could be Krishna, because he's appearing in all species. He's appearing in everything. And Jayadev Goswami speaks about, O Keshava, Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a fish. Specifically Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks about Varaha, so maybe that's a personal favorite. Form of a fish. He usually acted as a boat in the form of a giant fish, just to give protection to the Vedas, which had become immersed in the turbulent sea of devastation. There was a purpose to that. He acted as a boat, and he was trying to, again, arouse Krishna consciousness in that time, place, and circumstance. O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a tortoise, so that's Matsya, all glories to you. The great Mandara mountain rests upon your gigantic back as a pivot for churning the ocean of milk, which puts a huge scar-like depression in your back and has become most glorious. Again, churning the ocean of milk from the Mandara mountain. We know the result of that. That was when Lord Shiva drank the poison, and became Nilakant. He was able to, save everybody in that regard. And Lord Bor, Varaha, the earth which had become immersed in the Garbhodaka ocean at the bottom of the universe. What a fantastic form. And maybe that's why Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur kind of, how unusual. It was at the bottom of the universe, and digging down with the huge tusks, he lifted up the earth. And there could have been other incarnations, but he just chose that one. It was appropriate, and it was fantastical. And sometimes there's a negative connotation about boars, so he smashed that. So for so many reasons, he was able to bring a different, perspective about, Krishna and what he's capable of. And then one of our most, I will say, leaned upon or thought about incarnation, Lord Nrsimha. Just as one can easily crush a wasp between one's fingernails, so in the same way the body of the wasp-like demon, Hiranyakshipu, has been ripped apart by the wonderful pointed nails on your beautiful lotus hands. So, there's a gruesome and that's a little different rasa of dispelling or dispatching a demon is that, obviously picking up Hiranyakshipu and ripping him apart. It was quite ghastly. It's a little bit of a different rasa he was espousing there. But that's there too. He's the reservoir of everything. Assuming the form of a dwarf brahmana, your massive steps you deceived King Bali, and by the Ganges water that has emanated from the nails of your lotus feet, you deliver all living beings within this world. That's when his form as dwarf brahmana, he was this super adorable, super like cute brahmana, and everybody was so enchanted, so much so that formerly Surpanaka, who in that pastime was Bali's wife, was just so entranced by him because he was so cute, he was so adorable. But, showing he was real tricky, right? He showed his very tricky nature that, I just need 3 steps of land. And Bali was like, oh, go right ahead, He was lulled into a little bit of a false sense, and that's a whole other pastime where he was getting bad advice from his guru. So that was kind of showing a tricky and a little bit different side of Krishna, tricky and adorable and very upstanding dwarf brahmana, And Lord Parashuram, at Kurukshetra, you bathe the earth in the rivers of blood from the bodies of the demonic Kshatriyas that you have slain. The sins of the world are washed away by you. Because of you, people are relieved from the blazing fire of material existence. I remember one time trying to find, there's actually a temple of Parashuram somewhere in India, and it sounded quite fascinating because we don't hear about that incarnation very much, but we can understand that, that's just straightforwardly, much as Lord Kalki, I'll say, in the same vein, just tired of irreligion, just tired of hypocrisy. Brigupati, Parashuram, there was a lot of demonic kshatriyas, and kshatriyas are supposed to be the gatekeepers of, an upstanding society. They're supposed to be the most dharmic. They're expected to uphold that dharma in a society. And, he just was tired with the hypocrisy, tired of that hypocrisy amongst so-called, upstanding individuals. Then the form of Lord Ramachandra, one of our favorites. In the battle of Lanka, you destroy the 10-headed demon Ravana and distribute his heads as a delightful offering to the presiding deities of the 10 directions, headed by Indra. Ravana was causing so much trouble with people, and Lord Ram showed the utmost perfect example as a ruler, as a compassionate king, as, Ekapatni Vrat, as one-pointed focus, one wife, one life, all of the most dharmic principles. He was the emblem, the very emblem of that, just by his example. And then, of course, Lord Balaram, wielder of the plow. You wear garments like the color of a fresh blue rain cloud. Balaram is his very first expansion. Lord Vishnu's very first expansion is Ananta Shesh. And he is his everything. Lord Balaram is Krishna's everything. He's the supreme servitor of himself. He provides all of the paraphernalia. He is his, he's his everything. He's whatever he requires, the Lord requires to bring people to Krishna consciousness and to do his business in this world. Lord Balaram happily supplies, and he's extremely gorgeous also. These garments are colored like the beautiful dark hue of the river Jamuna, who feels great fear due to the striking of your plowshare. But also Balaram is no joke, and he's also a force to be reckoned with. And as so many pastimes have shown, he's a little less tolerant of, people's nonsense, I'll say, than Krishna is. Krishna just sort of waits, because, he can smash anybody at any time. But Balaram, it feels like he wants to, he's not having it. He's all business all the time, Balaram. He's all business all the time. And Lord Buddha, as we heard described, he's very compassionate and decrying the slaughtering of animals. And, if we look at all the avatars holistically, we can actually understand that in all aspects, Krishna will smash these things that are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness and asking us to accept everything favorable. Hare Krishna.
Kandar Ago Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Jami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Jami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham pritivanti Lasyam Vipanti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham 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 Bhajami
Nidra Chari Utajiva Rama Krishna Hayagriva Murari Rama Krishna Eva Nashimavamana Srimadhusudana Rajendra Nandana Shama Nandana Shama Putana Gatana Kaitaba Shatana Jaya Dasharati Rama Kaitaba Shatana Jaya Dasharati Rama Yashoda Dulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavana Purandara Gopala Vrindavana Purandara Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bara Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bara Ravana Takara Makana Taskara Gopi Jana Vashahari Takara Makana Taskara Gopi Jana Vashahari Rajera Rakala Gopa Vrindapala Jita Hari Bamsidari Yogendra Bandana Srinandanandana Raja Jana Bayahari Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara Mohana Bamshi Bihari Rupa Manohara Mohana Bamshi Bihari Yashodanandana Kamsani Sudana Nikunjarasa Vilasi Kadamba Kanana Rasa Parayana Vrindavi Pina Nivasi Rasa Parayana Ananda Vardana Premani Ketana Pula Shara Jojakakama Vardana Premani Ketana Pula Shara Jojakakama Gopan Gana Gana Chita Vinodana Samasta Guna Gana Dhamma Jamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakora Namasuda Rasa Goa Krishna Jasha Rakovachana Manamora Rasa Goa Krishna Jasha Rakovachana Manamora Vivavari Shesha Loka Provesha Nida Chali Utajiva Nishesha Nida Chali Utajiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Haribo Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari Shri Radhe Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham Jaya Nityalila Vishnu Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stota Sota Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stota Sota Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavindi Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Shri Shri Radha Golokananda Go Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Shri Gangamai Ki Shri Jamuna Mai Ki Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Srimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai Priya Madanga Transcendental Bhakti Shri Vishnu Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Jai. The night has come to an end, and the light of dawn is entering. O Jiva soul, arise, give up your sleep, chant the holy names of Lord Hari, giver of liberation, enemy of demon Mura, supreme enjoyer, all attractive, and Hari Griva, the horse-headed incarnation. Nishringa, half man, half lion incarnation. Vamana, dwarf Brahman incarnation. Killer of demon Madhu, beloved son of Vraja's ruler, beautifully dark complexion, slayer of witch Putana, destroyer of demon Kaitaba, and victorious son of Dasarath, Lord Ram, darling of Yashoda, giver of pleasure to cows, land, and spiritual senses, cow protector, Lord of Vrindavan, the gopis' beloved, lover of Radhika, and most beautiful in all the world. Cause of demon Ravana's demise as Lord Ram, butter thief, robber of the gopi girls' clothes, young herdsman of Braja, protector of the other coward boys, thief of hearts and flute carrier, worshipped by the best of the yogis, Nanda's joy, remover of all fears for the people of Braja, colored like a fresh rain cloud, enchanting in form and charming while wandering and playing a flute. Yashoda's joy, vanquisher of demon king Kamsa, enjoyer of the rasa dance among the forest groves, and especially under the Kadamba trees, and resident of the woods of Vrinda, increasing the ecstasy of his devotees, reservoir of all love, the transcendental Cupid who uses his flowered arrows to increase the loving desires of the gopis, the pleasure of the hearts of all our men, and the abode of all wonderful qualities, the life of the Yamuna river, always absorbed in amorous pastime, and moon of the mind, which is like the moonlight feeding Chikora bird. Heed my words, O mind. These holy names are full of nectarian mellows. Therefore sing the glories of Krishna. Chaita Darpanam Arjanam Baba Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Karaiva Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyabhanujivanam Andam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipatam Virnam Ridasvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Nam Akari Bahudani Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpitani Majta Smaranena Kala Etadrishi Tava Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivam Ihan Trinadapi Sunichena Turodapi Sishnuna Hamanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadaharihi Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitamba Jagadishikame Mama Janmani Janmani Svare Bhavatad Bhakti Ahoitaki Tvai Ai Nanlatanin Shikaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kribaya Tama Pada Pankajas Dita Dvili Sadrishim Jachintaya Naranam Galada Shudaraya Vadanam Gadgada Rudaya Gira Pulakaya Nichitam Babhukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayitam Namishena Chakshusha Pravishayatam Sunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahena Me Asishava Padamritam Sumam Adarshanam Marmahatam Kurotuva Yatatadava Vidadatulam Prato Matrana Natastu Sayana. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregation chanting of your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction to them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna,